It's oh, hello people, hello people. So today I figured there was a lot of information I gotta catch you up on. So you know, try to get through that pretty quick for you today. It's regarding like last video. There was a lot of context I was kind of missing in there, and I was like, you know what, I could have made this way better. I really could have. I really could. So I decided to give you more information on both what happened before that event and what happened quite recently, just like 2 weeks ago. So I'll let you know real quick, bro. I was getting ready for a gala about 2 weeks ago, bro. Now I was texting the shawty I was taking with me though. So I arrived there, and I how it is, bro. Like I see her there. I know, it sounds hella confusing, but here's the thing. I had my own car, and she has her own car, and she lives like an hour away from me, but we go to the same university, right? So I was like, I'm not gonna drive there to go pick her up like a gentleman, and then drive to the event and then drive back to her place and drive back. That's 4 hours, bro. That's 4 fucking hours. I'm not doing that shit, bro. I'm not doing that, bro. So, I arrived there at a separate time. I'm wearing dripped. I got the suit on, the suit and tie, bro. I'm dripped out. I'm dripped out. You can see that I'm kind of going a little quick with this because I didn't want to make this an hour again because I felt kind of bad. Like, I took my time with it, but at the same time, bro, an hour long? Fuck. Anyway, I'm in my car. I'm in the back. I put like a little shirt on like the little hanger part of my car because like I wanted to block out the light. My plan with that was like, hey, if I'm lucky, bro, maybe she'll come in my car and we can talk and a little privacy. And then, you know, in the back of my car while I was changing my shoes before heading in, I was like, damn, bro, this shit is ghetto as fuck. This is not even worth doing, bro. It's not even worth so, just kind of like chill out with that. I just put on these Air Forces and they don't even fit, bro. Like they fit, but like there's just a little gap behind like my ankle, and it's just so weird because I'm walking. It feels like fucking cinder blocks on my feet. I hate it. So I just switched back to my regular shoes, and I feel bad because my uncle actually got me those Air Forces, bro. I got the white and black ones, bro, and they're like literally like half an inch too big. And even if I put like stuffings to stuff it in, it's still like a cinder block on my feet. So it's just like I don't wear them, and I feel bad because my uncle's like, "Hey man, you wearing them?" I'm like, "Yeah man, I'm wearing them." I'm not. I feel like a piece of shit. I'm lying. I feel bad about that. I really do. I really do. Anyway, I switch back to my regular Nike, and I walk back in there. Wow, it is. I'm dabbing people I know. I'm dabbing people I know. I'm looking around. I see Shoddy, bro. I see Shoddy, bro. I see Shoddy, and then like walk up. And the guy's like, "Hey, well, you have a ticket?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do. I got a ticket, bro. Look at this shit, bro." I'm stuck on my phone. He's like, "Hey, you were the first one, bro, to make your ticket, bro. I didn't know you were BoJack Horseman. Is that your credit card name?" I was like, "Yeah, that's my credit card name, BoJack fucking Horseman, bro." Because I used privacy.com. This is not an ad, by the way. I use that, so I just use a fake name to purchase stuff, bro. So you just like we were trying to figure out who fuck BoJack Horseman was, bro, and it was me. So I'm sitting down with the shoddy now. We talking, we talking, we talking, we talking. Things going on. I'm like, yo, I mean, like, this is the type of what you expected to be, like a gala. She was like, she put a lot of work into setting up a different gala, but then the idea got stolen. So this is a gala that she really cared about making perfect. So so we just be talking about it, right? And then, there's like an award show going on. I'm enjoying it. Yada yada stuff comes in. Mysterious girl randomly comes in. I see her. I'm like, oh, this chick is height. I noticed her because she had a nice face, but she looked like a skeleton, bro. I ain't gonna hold you, bro. And I never got her name, but she was dressing as like the Soul Train because the theme of the gala was like decades. So it was like Black History decades, I believe, and I dressed up as like the House Revolution because this was a few weeks ago. I can't remember it that well. I've written some bullet points though that I'm kind of reading off of. And I remember I registered for the House Revolution. Was when I believe black people were like kicked out, like House Party. It doesn't matter that much. You're not here about that information. So, two people come inside. We got Oz and we got Jean. And I should just clarify, they came in like about an hour mark in. These two are very important, by the way. Oz is biologically a woman, but they identify as a man. And you know what? Bro, I support that. That's cool. it's not gonna like affect me at the end of the day, right? So a friend of mine, no, that's cool. They invited me for dumplings at their house before, so they were chill about that. Their dad called them the original name. I was like, that's how I realized Oz isn't even their real name. I was like, oh, I thought that was their real name this whole time. Apparently, it wasn't. The dad said that in front of them, but I still called them Oz anyway, because that's my homeboy. Yeah, I said, well, homeboy, yeah, sure. And guess what? Guess what Oz does when I go for the dad, bro? Completely fucking avoids me, bro. Like they pulled a young thug on me, bro. Like just fucking pulled their fucking arm back a little bit and like had like a weird look a little bit. I was like, oh, okay. I mean, it's like maybe they're feeling weird about it. Jean was with Oz. They came together. So I go dab up Jean and she accepts the dab. We dabbing up. I said she looks fabulous. I wasn't lying. She was attractive. She's younger than me though. So she gives me like a little immature vibe. But if she was like like just a little bit older, right? Like maybe a year older, because like she's just basically at the 3 year gap. She's 3 years younger than me, I believe. But if she had been like just 2 years, I would have probably asked her out maybe. But she posts on Instagram all the time, bro. I might cut that part out if I remember. Because because you guys don't know how old I am, so this could sound really fucking weird and then really normal to some people. But just know that she would be over 18 at all points anyway. So it's I. So I'm not trying to rant about that, but like I don't really like chicks that post 2 pictures of themselves a week online. You know what I mean? It's kind of like attention begging. So some time passes, and I notice that Oz and Jean and the girl from before, the mysterious girl, Soul, what we'll call her, are just kind of like intermingling. So I was shocked they even knew each other. I was like, oh, okay. So clearly, they're talking. I'm talking to Shoddy, bro, and she, Shoddy with me right next to me, and she peeps the table. We're like laughing. Stuff is all good. Stuff like that. And at this point in time, enough time has passed that I actually try to dab up Oz again because I thought, maybe they were just feeling weird at the time, like something happened. No, they denied my dab for the second time. Young thugged again, keeping their hand just away from me. Now, you don't know who Oz is, right? Like, I didn't tell you who Oz was. I just told you, like, just the bare basic. But what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to spend probably, hopefully not an hour, explaining the backstory of me and Oz. I'll set like a point here maybe if I remember, so that way you can like skip ahead, so you can just stay on the gala if you want to, because some of you guys, like my friends IRL, whoever I told the story to, you already know all about this, so you can just skip right ahead. And for the people online who are like my online friends, I would suggest like sticking in for this part. Or if you're just washing dishes, I'll try to make it subtly entertaining, I guess. So I met Oz in like I think like mid 2025, and like I even realized at the time they identified as like a man. I didn't really realize it. They looked like a small girl. You know what I mean? So I mean, like, but I'm a nice guy. So when they told me like, oh, I identify as a man, I'm like, okay, okay, I'll call you a dude. I'll call you a dude, bro. So I met them, and actually also should mention that I did meet Oz through that one girl from that video where we went to like that dance, and like she asked that guy's number in front of me. So it's this. I met her through that chick. Uh, but like, you know, I just mentioned that part. Anyway, Oz was a very chill person, bro. They liked the same stuff I did. Like we were both artistic, so I invited them to my org. We hanged out there. Things were pretty well. I ain't gonna lie. They were low-key kind of like a star member because they would always speak and have like good comments to add onto other people's stuff. So it was like they were really like passionate member. I really fucked with that. I was like, damn, this person really fucks with art. They just like me for real. Hey, low key, like in the event that I graduate, I would like them to take over for me. That was kind of like the mindset. I had a little bit of it. So I was like, yeah, man. But I will note this. I will note this very, very one big downside, like the big con they had. They were too open sexually. Like I noted that in my head. I was like, well, which is fine and all to be like open sexually, especially modern age. I think most people are fucking gooners now. I'm not even gonna lie. I think most people more than ever have like a porn addiction. It's actually kind of sad. But the thing is about that is like usually people that do it kind of fall into it. It's kind of like kept on the low. You don't really just publicly announce it, which is exactly what Oz would do. because they would say that shit completely out loud. Just be like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I'd be beating it. I'd be beating it every day. Kind of like that. And it's kind of weird because I was just biologically a woman. They also, if you look at them, they look like a woman. So I was like, I wouldn't even say a woman, honestly. I think they were like 18 at the time. So like they looked, and honestly, they also had a very very young look on top of it. I'd say they looked like a bit younger than that too, but they were 18. So I was just like, hearing that come out of them. Oh yeah, she's basically a short woman. What am I fucking saying? They were just a short woman. So yeah, basically coming out of them, it's just kind of like, cause kind of weird. I'm not gonna fucking lie. And they'd always be like, "Oh guys, I have a lot of like advice regarding that topic." So I was like, I was like, "Oh really? Bet say less." So I got their Discord for general club communications primarily. So I always invite people in that circle. It's like a little niche circle I have. I love the people in that group. I love them all to bits, man. And they were there too, and they were like inviting me to Roblox one day. I was like, "Oh, you want to play Roblox with me, Milkman? You want to play Roblox?" I was like, "Fuck it, why not? Why not?" So I joined voice chat with them. We just be talking about it. It's normal stuff like our childhood. We're just playing Roblox together at this point, and at this point in time, just remember this is after the whole event with that one girl, all right? And then we spent our nights, and then Oz would be like, that how that girl did you was so fucked up. That was so fucked up. Like, I don't really be talking to her anymore after that. And it's like, yeah, I was like, so yeah, I felt a little seen. I felt understood. It was very nice, getting to see that. Someone feels bad for the fact that I was in a cuck chair, man. Yeah. Now I feel like I had the strength, unlike Charles Xavier, to get up out of my chair and walk away. That's how I felt after, being seen a little bit. So I was a bit more like willing to speak about a lot more things. It was like vulnerable if you put it in that way, I guess. And be playing late at night for like a few hours here and there. And one of those sessions we had, we're just both tired. We were just talking about gooning, bro. Which I tapped into it mostly as a joke because I remember them mentioning that, oh, you could ask me advice. I was like, okay, nah, there's no fucking shot they would actually have like real advice on this shit. But like, nah, everything they said was actually fucking genuine as hell. I was like, oh, I mean, okay. I mean, we kept talking about it. I kind of quickly realized that in terms of like the world of gooning, bro, I'm like a fucking level 1 gangster, and they were like level 100 mob boss, bro. Like, badass. They were significantly more educated regarding like sexual topics than I was. And then there was also the admission that they were kind of into like super hardcore shit. And I was like, damn, that's kind of crazy, right? That's kind of crazy to just casually just admit that. I know I'm not gonna go into detail what specifically is, but it starts with B and ends with M, so it's that stuff. And there's nothing inherently like wrong with that, as long as you do it in your own privacy of your home, and and stuff like that. But like, it's kind of weird because you look at them and they're like a pretty young person, bro, and it's like, I mean, like, I never met anyone in IRL that was really be talking to like shit like this. Maybe on Discord, I'd hear be like, yeah, man, I'm into like super hardcore furry inflation. Oh, yeah, man. But like, there's a difference when you hear it in person, and it's like, oh my god, this person's really into that shit. Holy fuck. And it's just so eye opening and kind of weird at the same time. I don't know how to feel about that. Looking back on it, I kind of don't know how to feel about that a little bit. But looking back on it, I did kind of proceed with it. So I guess it's like a difference now. I guess I learned and kind of changed and reflected in a way, I guess you could say. But anyway, not to skip, not to like get off track or anything about this. I'm skipping some minor facts here and there. But what happens next is I low key kind of try to shoot my shot because like at this point, this person kind of validated my feelings. I found them, honestly, I can't even say I found them necessarily attractive. They weren't bad looking, I won't admit. But like the terms of attraction was more like they look like a woman, not me accepting the fact that they would like to be viewed as a man. And I'm not gay, right? So I was like, oh yeah, this is an attractive woman that is into some like freaky shit, and I'm low key a fucking, not like a super goon like them, but like it was more like how some dudes would be like, oh, they want like a freaky chick that is like experienced in a way, but not like not a virgin or something like that. I don't even know if they were a virgin or not. I honestly wouldn't even be shocked if they weren't, to be honest. So I was like, yo, you still offering to make dumplings? Because they had invited me over one time for dumplings, and I was like, I wasn't able to attend or like go. I was like, oh nah, maybe another time. But at this point, my fucking gooner brain was like, I gotta get those fucking dumplings and more. So then I asked them this, and they were like, yeah, I could set that up for sure. And I didn't really follow that up well because like the next week I was trying to take them out for burgers because I thought I made it pretty clear that I wanted dumplings at that point in time, but I didn't really get much of an update regarding that because like yeah, they did say yeah we could do that, but then time passed, and then I was like, hey, you wanna go? I'm gonna take you to this like Outback Steakhouse place, right? And they're like, oh okay. I was like, I'm gonna be ready at this time. It's like okay, okay. And then I get to their house, I'm ready. I'm like dressed up. I'm not like wearing anything like fancy or anything of the sort, but like, I'm ready to bounce and dip, bro. And she's just like, what was it? What was it again? Let me check my bullet points really fast, actually. Let me check my bullets. Yeah, okay. Here we go. And she was like pretty weirded, tired to be more accurate. Because when I get there, she was like dressed in like pajamas and shit. I'm like, yo, why aren't you ready to go? I'm taking you out to go get burgers. And they look at me and they're like, oh, I thought you were gonna do dumplings. And like she like like points me across and it's like a fucking bunch of the stuff for dumplings. I'm like, oh shit. I mean, I guess it's gonna save me some money. I mean, that's chill. That's chill, right? And he's like, oh, I went shopping and all that stuff. I was like, okay. They went shopping to go get ingredients for my dumplings. Be fucked up if I was just like, no, we're getting burgers. Yeah. And their mom was actually there, and I met the mom too. I was like, "Yo, what's up? What's up?" The mom, me and the moms, we just talking a little bit. We're going back and forth, back and forth. And like the mom's like, "Oh, you're such a nice gentleman. You're such a good guy. You're such a good guy. I'm happy Oz was able to meet someone like you. I'm happy about that. Yeah, I'm happy." And like, I was like, "Oh, yeah, okay." I was like, "Okay." I mean, it was like the way they were saying it felt like they didn't believe that a man would ever be in this house or some shit. You know what I mean? It was like, oh, okay. I mean, yeah. What's up, dog? What's up? And I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I was so bewildered out because I low-key had a condom in my pocket this whole time. So yeah, like I was genuinely overestimating what was gonna happen tonight, bro. Granted, Oz themselves was the person that educated me on what brand to use if I ever got with the girl. So like it was never like intended to be with them, but like any if I ever got with another girl per se, right? And to bring one with me if I ever go on a date. So I was quite literally following their advice, ironically, bro, which is pretty fucking funny to me looking back on it. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you, I didn't really see them as a man, even though they identified as a man. If I'm being completely honest, I viewed them as a woman. That's why I had that. So I'm gonna completely admit that. That's a little fault I did have with that. So you can be angry at me for that shit. I'm being completely honest here. This is my journal, not yours. Anyway, so I'm playing my cards right. I introduced myself to the parents. Skipping a little forward, I helped make the dumplings. We got some jazz playing. There's two big ass dogs in the house, but it's nice cause I was trained dogs for a living. So these dogs are actually like, ironically, the most well trained dogs I've ever met in my life. And we just be cooking. I prevent Oz from burning themselves. I meet Oz's dad. He's a pretty chill dude, really nice guy. He's Mormon, I will say. Nothing necessarily inherently wrong with being Mormon, except like if you read into some facts about them, they don't really mess with like black people like, that much. There's like the whole thing about like Mormons and like black people who are Mormon, like the whole belief that like if they die, they go to heaven and they become white, which is kind of just fucking weird. It's a weird thing I heard because this is something a friend of mine who is Mormon told me about. Yeah. There's also the whole like other history, like them like being banned from becoming like anything like priest and stuff like that. But like that's like more older Mormonism. I don't know how Mormonism is modernly. And then the parents were actually like they didn't seem like hardcore Mormons at all. So like, yeah, they seem like really chill people if I'm being honest. Oz's dad worked as like a product engineer or some shit. Dude was actually hella chill. We were just talking about like routers because I noticed he had like a HubSpot on his like ceiling that was like using a 3D printed like nest. So I was like, oh yeah, this fuck. We just be talking about that basically. Just really be talking about that. But the dad did kind of drop the government name of Oz, and I was like, oh, I was like, who is that? Because I thought there was like a sister. I was like, I didn't say that out loud, but I was like, oh, Oz has a sister? Yeah, I didn't know that. Oz has a sister this whole time, but no, Oz does not have a sister at all. That name was in fact Oz himself. So I was like, oh, that's not even a legal name. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. So, but I didn't do anything when the parents left though, because it looked like there were cameras here and there. So I played a good Christian dude, which is honestly how I normally act. And them dumplings were a banger. I ain't gonna lie, bro. I was like, you gotta make me these for your whole life. A really shitty attempt at a pickup line, low key. You know, I was about to spin them around to that jazz a little bit. You know, we are getting into the jazz. I ain't gonna hold you, bro. But then the parents came back, and I don't want to send the wrong image because like I'm honestly all I'm really doing is just testing the waters here. So I'm not really like, trying to push anything forward per se, not like an image or anything of the sort. But this segment I want to bring up is very important because I realize that the parents probably think I'm dating Oz, and that's an important fact because from all we know, I come in, I come into this whole event, we're dancing around. The mom's like, "Oh, I wish Oz would have brought you here earlier. You're such a nice guy." Or like also another comment I remember I was helping like telling them about like a laundry technique. I was showing Oz's mom about that, and I remember Oz's mom was like, "This guy's a keeper." While looking at Oz, I was like, oh, "Okay, that's cool." I was like, that's what I'm saying. That's when I got like all that vibe and shit. I was like, okay, that's odd because what I'm about to tell you is gonna blow your mind a bit here. Oz has a boyfriend. Yeah, but the parents don't know about them. So my mindset about that, when I figured out the parents don't know about that, but Oz has a boyfriend, right? Is like low key. I'm gonna cuck this guy today, bro. I'm gonna cuck this dude. Like I didn't give a fuck, cause I was that down bad, bro. I was really fucking. It was really fucking sad, bro. I was really just that down bad. And like I was like, oh, I'm just gonna be the better option here because the parents clearly fuck with me a lot. They're like, oh, this guy's a good guy. They were asking me a lot about like my job, and I was telling about them. I was like, oh yeah, you have a good job set. You're gonna do well. It's like, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. And the parents were generally saying shit like, he's a keeper, keep him, Oz, and shit like that. So I was like, no. I was like, oh, okay, I low key kind of got this in the bag at this point if I really want to push for that angle. But because I knew Oz actually really did have a boyfriend, I was just kind of like, on one hand, I was like, I'm gonna do this, but the real me, like the inner ego, inner conscious state, was kind of like, I don't know how to feel about this situation because it was like a weird mixed bag, right? So at around this point in time, my phone actually had died, and it was like 6 o'clock. So I kind of had to dip. I had to charge my car, and I can only charge it with my car on, which means if it's on, I'm basically have to be driving home at this point, right? So before that point, I figured I was probably just not gonna go proceed any further and engage, and so I asked Oz if I can see their art collection in their room before I go. And when I say I'm not gonna engage that further, I meant like engage past a kiss, right? So I was like, we go up to the room, right? That was the plan. I go up to the room and maybe get a little kiss, bro. Get a little kiss. I bag a little bit, bro. I'm a man, bro. I'm gonna be honest on my channel, bro. I'm not a predator though. I always get consent. That's a very important part. You always need to get consent for everything, right? So keep that in mind. Gotta get consent. So we go into the room and fuck, man. I was like, in my head was the first flash of it. It was like, damn, bitch, you live like this? Damn, bitch, you live like this? Damn, bitch, you live like this? There were clothes everywhere, bro. Like I don't mean like every. I mean every fucking where. Every inch was just like fucking clothes everywhere. There was paper, like fucking paper clips, metal bits and tittlets, and then like Oz just points out to the desk, which is just covered in like random shit, and it's like, oh, this is where I played Roblox to you that time. I was like, oh, okay. And then right next to like her like laptop was just like 10 different like fucking bottles of medicine for like mental problems, right? It was like a bunch of her like shit. I was like, I was like, fuck, bro. This is like a horror show a little bit, man. And at that point, I actually just completely lost interest. Like, I didn't even want to kiss anymore or anything. I didn't even want anything like romantic to do with Oz. I was like, my fucking like at least like here's the thing about me. Like, yeah, bro, I love all girls, bro. I love girls a little bit on like the spectrum, a little artistic. I like them like that, bro. But like, damn, I just felt like this chick might actually be too much for me. So, fast forward, I pretty much just tried to find any way to leave as quick as I could, and I ended up leaving. And a few weeks later, I invite Oz to an Indian joint. Because the reason why is I got desperate again a little bit, bro. It's this Indian place. I love this Indian place. I always suggest it to my homies to always check it out. It's like the perfect date place too, right? So I'm like, all right, we're gonna go to this Indian John. I pick her up this time. All right, you're gonna say, as I say her, they, yeah, okay. Just know that their gender identity is man, but I don't care that much. But I also should because I'm not trying to be a dinglebob. So just correct it in your mind, I guess, if you want to. But anyway, we cut through it just as nothing happened in terms of the discussion inside the restaurant. I thought it was repayment for their dumplings, so that's how I wanted to be viewed as, right? And she asked me about the girl from the event. We talked about that even more. Then we talked about like healthy relationships and how I can like help Oz with their poems. And we did like a friendship builder Quizlet, which I recommend. It's basically based off this card game called We Are Not Really Friends. So that's something you can do if you're ever interested in that. And I low-key kind of planned that after like the sun goes down, right, we go back in my car. And after at this point in time, right, it was a little chilly outside, but my car, it was warm. And seeing how we got to this location in my car, where also we be besides chilling in the back seat of my car, and I got a little blanket in my back seat, bro. So we're just there continuing the builder game, and we're running the XXX edition because I'm a fucking loser, and it was funny to me seeing that they were so open about the topic. Like, bro, come from my perspective, I'm a very curious dude, so like, not every day I can just ask someone like the most fucking vulgar questions. That shit to me was just like so engaging and funny. So it was so fun for me to be able to do that. So I didn't really care that much, right? And one of the questions was age gaps. I was like, okay, 18 would be the minimum, even though like the like 17 was the state minimum, right? But that was like a sarcasm thing. Like I corrected it to the actual value of what it really was for me, which was actually about 2 years younger than me and then 2 years older than me. That was like where I put it. And Oz hits me with like my ex Oz back. Oz hits me with this. She says, "Salty beard dudes talking about some. Oh, I like older men, but younger than my dad, right?" And that makes sense. That makes sense. Most women tend to like dudes who are older because like stability, financial, already reached a point where they can like handle all that for a woman, right? But then I recalled Oz had a boyfriend, right? Remember, remember that, right? That from important because I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this and do that, blah, blah, blah. So what was important to me at that point was, out of curiosity, I had to ask, how old is your boyfriend, Oz? Can you tell me why Oz was so hesitant about that? Like, like it was really weird. And they go on like one specific, right? Remember the specific, like younger than their father, right? So, but they were still hesitant about the direct age. So I asked, I'm like, okay, are they older than me? Yes. Keep in mind, I think at this time I just turned 21, and she was 18. So I was like, okay, so this nigga's weird as fuck. Weirder than me at this point, I guess you could say. But like, hey, bro, I think they were turning 19, like in like I think 2 months from then at that point. But it's whatever. And that's weird. So like maybe they met recently, right? Nope. Turns out she met her boyfriend when she was fucking 16. So remember, I'm only like 3 years older than her at this point in time. So I got more like 2.2 years older, but fuck, that doesn't fucking matter. And they confirmed that they were older than myself by about like 2 years. So their boyfriend would have at minimum been like 19, 20 years old when they met Oz when they were like 14, bro. So obviously they're a fucking victim, bro. Like, what the fuck? It hit me like someone that young wouldn't be knowledgeable about all this like super hardcore stuff unless they were groomed, right? And the parents don't know that of like you know the older boyfriend that Oz was dating, right? So I mean, I had to ask too. I was like, just to really confirm this in. Remember, I said earlier, parents didn't know, but like, did they really not know? So I had to really ask. I was like, do the parents not know about this? Because this is a 4 year long relationship, approaching 5 years too. Because I was about to turn 19, so I had to ask this question, right? Very important that I did too. And we continue talking. I'm trying not to make it weird, but on God, bro. Like again, at that point, I lost complete romantic intention, bro. I was like, in my head, I was like, this person, my friend, is a victim, right? That was what I was thinking in my head at that point. And we continue to talk about other things about how like apparently their boyfriend bites them to mark territory, and how their boyfriend gets super jealous easily. I was fucking nauseated to hear all this fucking information about how their boyfriend wants to practice. I'm not even like say it, but like like oral. Yeah, she wants to practice that with Oz, and it's kind of implying, and Oz kind of like Loki kind of implied that they kind of were already doing that, and I was like, I was trying to kind of hint at them. I was like, yo, that's not a normal thing. I'm not gonna lie, you don't meet people at that age, right? I don't even know what age. I don't even want to. I even asked that question like what time they were starting to do this shit like that. I was just so fucking weirded out at that point. I was just trying to make it clear like, yo, that's. I was like hinting at it because like you can't just be. Sometimes if you're too like direct with it, you come off as aggressive and like they don't want to like talk to you anymore. So I was just trying to like hint at it a little bit, try to plant like the seed like, yo, this is not a normal thing, right? And I think they picked up on it a bit, but like they didn't like really express on it, right? And like after a moment they kind of like started like talking a bit more about it for some reason, like regarding like the oral thing. And it's just like I was, bro, I think it was starting to show on my face a little bit too. I was just kind of uncomfortable with everything so far. And I was just like, oh, all of a sudden it's just like, oh yeah, right now we're actually on a break actually. And they like move closer to me. And then bro, I was so fucking grossed out at this point. I got the vibe immediately that they were just kind of implying that if I wanted to kind of do something in that moment, I could do it. Like if I want to like kiss them or something, I could probably get away with just kissing them and be like in like a consenting thing, right? But I didn't act on it. I didn't act on it. Yeah, I was, bro. I felt like I was gonna vomit, bro. It was so uncomfortable, bro. I'm thinking back on it. I actually just feel weird. And had I not heard like all that information, like honestly, I'm gonna be real with you, maybe I would have. But after you hear shit like that, man, like my image of them was just fucking ruined, bro. Like completely just fucking ruined at that point. So at that point, I just kind of like was like, yo, let's just get you home. Let's get you home. Your parents probably want to get you. Your parents have a curfew for you. They don't have a curfew. Nah, they have a curfew for you for sure. Let's make sure you get home at this time. Take them back home. At the end, we get like a strictly friendship only hug. I didn't want anything more than that, man. And like honestly, since that day, I hadn't really talked to them. Like being completely honest, since that day, I hadn't really talked to them like at all. maybe like I think like 5 Discord messages I sent, and it was just basically like, hey, our organization's having a meeting at this day, you should come, or there's an event here, you should come, or I heard this club's here, do you know what day it starts on and what time it starts? Thank you. So I mean, like if it wasn't clear by now, Oz was basically more or less just gonna be a rebound for that girl from the like that dance. I'm just being completely honest with you, bro. They were going to be a rebound, but they can't be a rebound after I hear all that shit, bro, because it's just like, holy fuck, man. My cat just fucking jumped off my bed out the fucking. This guy should be in the fucking Olympics, bro. This guy should be in the goddamn Olympics. Anyway, the events from the dance and with Oz are about 28 days apart, by the way. So that should give you another hit. Another hit. But keep in mind, the event itself with Oz is now like a few months ago. So this is a while back now. Back to the main story. Back to the main story. Back to the main story. I'm just saying this multiple times so that way I can remember when I'm rewatching this to just like put the tag in so you guys can start from here. Oz denied my second dap. But you know, I see Gene and Oz together, and I can't help but actually be happy, right? Especially if you just heard the whole entire story. Like I'm smiling ear to ear. Yeah, my homeboy denied me a dab twice. Yeah, and it's like even if I don't fuck with you, right? At minimal, I give you a fist bump and then like kind of just leave right away. Because like I don't like just being like a dick to anyone. I just naturally like that. So I was definitely taken a bit aback by being denied twice a dab. But like at the same time, for Oz in particular, I low key kind of prayed like that night months ago that like I hope to God that like this whole thing with them fucking dating Jeffrey Epstein, I hope that shit goes away, bro. And from what I like to assume, it did, you know. Minus the the young thug pulling away from me, bro. Hey man,
Favorite rapper, Future,
I
boy.
assume that
Future, what's up, boy?
want to dab me up, but it is what it is. It is what it is. I actually talked to Gene earlier that week, so we were he seemed chill and all. I was trying to get her to join a program that will literally help her get a scholarship. So wish her the best. Still was able to dab her up, so that went well. So the party continues. I'm talking to Shoddy, bro. Then I'm looking at something else on my phone for a moment, right? And that Soul Girl from earlier. I'm not sure if you skipped, but if you didn't skip and watch through the whole other segment just now, Soul was a girl that came in. That was like a mysterious girl. She was dressed off like something called the Soul Train. Unless I say something called the Soul Train, I know what the Soul Train is. My bad, but yeah, she was supposed to be dressed as that, and she was with Jean and Oz, but came earlier. But they were just like a friend group basically. And out of fucking nowhere, Soul just comes up to the shoddy I was talking to, bro, and just gets her snap. But like, the Soul Girl is just dead ass fucking ignoring me entirely. It's weird as fuck. I was like so surreal, right? And I don't say anything because I mean, I don't really care that much, low key. I was doing something on my phone kind of important. I was checking work stuff. But I put two and two together, and momentarily I was like, wait a second, yeah. This trio, besides Gene, I don't know if Gene's like putting up an act or anything of the sort to just kind of like seem like they're getting along with me, but they don't seem to fuck with me at all, bro. Like the look in the eye when I was trying to dab up Oz twice just kind of says it all. So it's like one thing to withhold the hand, but to look at me like I'm a gross ass dude or some shit, bro. That shit kind of deeply cuts at someone, especially if like you generally do kind of care about them. Because like I said, bro, I was generally praying that they break up with with fucking Jeffrey Epstein, bro. I'm gonna keep that in fucking Jeffrey Epstein, bro. Just the fucking boyfriend's name from now on, bro. That's funny as hell. Anyway, like we could like skip all the oddball stuff, I guess, because from that point on, it's just like some other like more like the event stuff. But like I'm dancing with Shotty at this point, right? I catch up with my other homeboy in the same major, and my homeboy, this is a different guy. This is a chill guy. I love this guy. And my homeboy's girl, the girl he's seeing, is like, damn, you guys are such a cute couple. I'm like, for real? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And the girl I came here with, the Shoddy, she had to use the bathroom. So I just keep chatting it up, chatting up with my homeboy and his girl. And she, Shoddy comes back and actually tells me that all the trio are actually like in the bathroom smoking, bro. I'm like, nah, I never actually took them for smokers. And then like, really? Shawty's like, really? They always gave me that vibe. I'm like, oh, really? Anyway, I said goodbye to the homie and his girl, and I walk her to her car outside, right? And hey man, I was trying to keep it a little romantic. Bro, it's really bad. I need to stop doing this shit. I try to escalate things when I shouldn't, man. Cause I remember her finding out that she was kind of like into more of like a one of those like trope dudes in the sense that it's like more rough around the edges. So I was like trying to be like more of like that kind of archetype. I was like, I'm him. I'm fucking cool. Yeah. So I was like, yeah. So like, how you doing? How you doing? Okay, I wasn't doing that much, but yeah, I walked her to her car basically, and I was hoping to get a kiss, but the situation, mislapped as she was pretty much immediately sitting down in her car, like opened her door and immediately sat down. So I was like, hey, you should like, step out of the car for a second, for a moment. And she's like, oh, okay, milkman. She gets out of the car for a second. I'm trying to pick her up. I'm like, I'm gonna pick you up. I'm gonna pick you up. Ah. She's like, no, don't pick me up, no. And I was like, nah, I'm gonna do my own thing. And I picked her up anyway. And honestly, I didn't really see the look on her face at all. I'm not gonna lie. But I just kind of assumed she was smiling, right? Because that's the vibe I got. It felt like a happy moment, right? Felt like a happy moment. It was like, kind of like a teasing moment, right? And it was a tip of mine, a friend of mine gave me, is like not to be afraid to talk to back to a girl and avoid being too nice if you can. And, I did it, and it felt like it worked pretty well. I'm not gonna lie, it felt like a nice moment. But like, I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. She was actually kind of heavy. She doesn't look heavy, but she is low key like the same height as me. So yeah, she's on the thicker side too, but not like BBW levels. You know what I'm saying? So I tried to pick her up, and I had like a bad like hold on her. So quite literally, it felt like I was about to break my fucking back trying to pick her up, bro. So since then, I've been actually lifting weights more consistently now. I lift and then I drink like a protein shake for 2 days, and then I lift again, and that's literally all I do. I'm not like super structured on it. I actually no, I'd say I actually is relatively structured for the most part, and that is the end of the video for the most part. Most of it was just really the backstory with Oz, but I have a feeling that might be notable that like ever since he kind of took her my shoddy snap, things have been a little iffy because I wrote the script here like weeks ago now. This was literally basically the night after the event, but a few weeks have actually passed, and I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I don't think that was a smart idea at all. Like, I'm not even fucking joking, bro. Like, if I had to explain it in a great way, like if I had to like tell the story from like how the fuck should I explain this, bro? Like how should I explain this thing? Nah, cause dude, they, bro. Okay. So basically, the lesson I'd say I kind of learned from that is like consent is very sexy. Don't lift women up if they say no, even if they even like say it out loud and stretch. Do not pick her up, cause I thought she was like teasing me back. Maybe she was, maybe she wasn't, but I've actually not heard from her in 2 weeks since the event. So yeah, yeah, don't do that. I wouldn't be shocked if she ghosted my ass for that. So yeah, I mean that, or maybe Oz said something to her. I don't know. Because like Oz technically would have an incentive to do that, because like I kind of just ghosted them after that, whole like car experience, dog. And then all of a sudden they're talking to the girl I'm currently talking to, and then 2 weeks later I've heard nothing from that girl ever since Oz got their snap. So yeah, I wouldn't be shocked what happens there. But it is what it is. That's just life. So, now if I had any other comments I want to make on top of that, it was likely probably like Oz's parents, because like I couldn't imagine being in their like position regarding all that shit, bro. Like you could assume that like, oh, our daughter probably has a boyfriend. Oh, it might be that guy that was at our house. Assuming like I'm referring to myself, because like they might think I'm that fucking boyfriend. That's the thing I don't want to be associated with at all now. Because like yeah, I don't want them to think I'm like a 25-year-old dude or some shit. Fuck that. I'm not even 25, bro. And like I couldn't imagine being in their position, because Oz's boyfriend definitely didn't see a 14-year-old, confused as a mature individual at all, or acknowledge her gender identity. They likely just saw a vulnerable girl. Like I'm just gonna leave it as that, bro. And what genuinely angers, that's honestly what probably just genuinely angers me the most about all of this. Even if they were probably responsible with like what happened to like the shotty I was talking to, doesn't mean I'm just gonna suddenly be like, oh yeah, nah, that's, bro. I fucking hate pedos, bro. I really do fucking. They deserve like death penalty every single time. Anyway, that's the story, guys. Milkman is out.